Welcome to the Local Marketing Institute Q&A Live. Next slide. Join with me, Ben Fisher from Steady Demand. You can reach me at The Social Dude. And I am joined by my illustrious guest host. No, he's not my guest host. He's my co-host, Greg Gifford from Search Life Digital at Greg Gifford on Twitter. Next slide, please. And if you have not already, which you're crazy if you haven't, I'm just saying, join us, right? Join us on Facebook, Local Marketing Institute Connect. I think we're up to like 2,400 members. Thank you, everybody. And Greg and I
update this slide to have the new follower count in there.
Yeah, exactly. And dark mode, right?
Yeah.
And also, of course, sign up to get our podcast on localmarketinginstitute.com. All right, we're just going to roll straight into this bad boy. So, hi, everybody. Again, welcome. Happy freaking Friday. Hi, John, Trisha, Steven, Nate. How's it going? All right. We are just going to kind of get started. Just a little bit of house cleaning. Yes, TGIF, you get that right. A little bit of house cleaning. So if you have a question, please open up the Q&A and ask the Q&A question in there. We do actually keep track of all this. And anything, we are going to go ahead and we're going to start with news today, like usual. Then we're going to get into some questions that we missed last week. There's about 4 or 5 of those. Then we're going to get into some of our older questions. But feel free. Ask your questions, throw them in the Q&A, and we will definitely get to you. If we don't get to you this week, we'll get to you next week.
And if we don't get to you then, it means we don't like you.
Exactly. Not true. We love everybody equally. All right. So let's start out with some news. Okay. So news, we actually have quite a lot of little news pieces today. It looks like Google's getting into their end of year dance, how shall I say? And if you follow GBP, for a couple of years, you'll notice that around this time this year, things start to accelerate as far as new features and tests. And then in November and December, they just like pile on everything. It gets really fun. It gets really hectic. It gets kind of confusing for a lot of people too. So, but anyway, here's the start of it. So the first thing that we have today is that local service ads seems to be running a new test on a layout. And it's more like your local categorical finder where you click on more businesses and you get to see an entire list of businesses. In this case, when you do a search for say a personal injury attorney in San Diego, then what you'll get is you get the list of the top 3 when you click on more. Bam, you get the entire sidebar list that has about 20. And then you get a map, which kind of familiar, right? Over on your right-hand side. And then you get to filter by different service areas. So it's kind of interesting. Not everybody has it. It can't be replicated yet. So, but if I would encourage you, go check it out. Search for personal injury attorney near you and see if you're getting this new kind of layout. And of course, click on that link if you want to go take a look and see what it looks like. All right. Next. Okay. So we're all familiar by now with what's called the in-search experience. In-search experience is where you're editing your Google business profile right inside of search, or if you're doing anything inside of your search. I'm sorry, to make posts, etc. With this, previously, Google had only allowed to show 3 of your merchant listings in search if you typed in my business. Well, now, thankfully, they take your device. There it is. What happens is if you type in my business, and let's say you have 100 profiles, you're an agency dashboard, right? You click on see the list of all businesses. And what will happen is instead of taking you to Google Business Profile Manager, it is going to take you to a modal window that pops up where all of your listings are. There's no search functionality in there yet. If I have anything to say about it, or if Greg has anything to say about it, we'll have a search functionality eventually. Anything on that, buddy?
Nope. No, just waiting for them to add that search functionality because when you got a whole lot, it's not fun to scroll through and do the whole wait. Where is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know about you, but I've got thousands. So it's like kind of a little bit of a scrolling pain in the butt. All right. So next thing. This is kind of cool. This is a test that appears to be running, and that is Google Business Profile image captions. So I know that, and I'm sure you've probably heard this, dude. Like, people have been asking for this thing for a long
forever.
time. Yes. And if I remember correctly, it's like you could kind of do it on mobile at one point, right? I think you could upload an image and make a caption, but it wouldn't show up anywhere.
Yeah.
So now I guess it's a test. It's in there, and I don't know. The first thing I thought of when I saw this is like, oh man, great. You know what the snake oil salesmen are all going to say, right?
Oh, heck yeah. It's going to be all about, you got to have the EXIF data on the image, and you got to upload it from your business, and you got to stuff in 5,000 keywords, and it's got to be at least a length of 250 words, and all the other stupid stuff they're going to say.
You're going to see people that are like specialists, like, I'm a caption image specialist expert. Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's fantastic really quick, but it is useful. I remember specifically being at SMX West probably like 9 years ago, and they took kind of a really small group of the speakers and experts to kind of a meeting room at Google HQ and kind of put everybody in front of the firing squad and said, what do you guys want to talk about? And I said, it'd be really cool if we could add captions on these images. That was like 10 years ago. Like, it's long enough, right?
Exactly. All right. Next thing is kind of neat if you're into local service ads. If you are, you're going to love this. So I just saw this the other day. One of my clients brought it to my attention. And basically what they're doing is they've really kind of done the layout when you go to designate your service areas. And hey, Paul, at least you're here. You're never late. At least you're here. So anyway, they've added, it looks like they're going to, because there's other people who are able to replicate this now. But they're adding in the ability to putting zip codes and area codes, et cetera, that you don't want business from, which is important, by the way. Example, I have a client of mine who does heating and air conditioning. And when I'm looking at their service areas, they won't put in the entire city, right? They'll just put in a bunch of different zip codes. And one day I was like, well, why don't you have this little area over here that's across the river? I was like, it's really close to you. It looks pretty decent, right? There's a bridge. He's like, yeah, but what you don't know is to get from the middle of the city to over that bridge takes an hour and a half. And he's like, and we're not going to drive that far for just something, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, snap. Okay. Did not know that. And then another one was like, well, why don't you have this little area here in the middle of the town? They're like, because in that area, that's where the slums are. Nobody is going to pay us. It's like, oh, okay. So this is a feature that a lot of service companies are going to dig. Basically, I guess is. So, what do you think of that, man?
It's such a no-brainer. You kind of wonder why they didn't do it that way in the first place,
right? Programmers. Jeez.
Yep.
All right. The feature is it's restricting service areas. So in other words, discounting service areas, Stephen. Okay, cool. All right, let's get into questions. First one's a few, buddy. Greg.
Boom, let's do it.
Right. We're talking about local SEO and 360 tours. So 360 tours. The question is from Dennis McCall. Hey, Dennis. Looks like you're out of Ireland. Okay. So 360 tours. I had a client a number of years ago that got one of these done for his shop, and he ranked well in local and organic search. Okay. So, was never sure if it had helped. I now create websites for private kindergarten schools, lots competing locally with a 360 tour of the school interior, help with local and organic rankings. And do you need to use a 360 provider from an approved Google list? If yes, where's the list and what's the typical cost?
Did it help with ranking? No, it doesn't have any influence. It's cool if you want to do it, but I mean, we don't. Every time we have a client that asks us, "Hey, should we do it?" We're like, "Yeah, if you want to go below the $700 or $500 or whatever that vendor's charging, then cool, and you can go put it on your site as well or whatever." But like, does anybody ever really use it? No. Is it going to matter for ranking? No. So I would say keep your $500 or your $300, or it's different prices for different vendors. Keep that money and spend it on something that's going to move the needle a little bit more, honestly.
Yeah.
So degrees.
Well, Paul has a reason to disagree. So actually, because Paul's right. So 360 tours are not going to help you from the organic side. Okay. So Paul, you can feel free to disagree with that, of course, if you'd like to, but it's not going to. But however, the 360 in local does have an effect, actually. How I know this, we had a guest on here. I forget his name exactly, but he was on last year. And he kind of went over a little bit of how the metadata actually from these 360 tours do impact ranking a little bit. It's not like a serious, ranking impact, but it is one of those signals, right? And he was able to show it and actually kind of give us some case studies on it. So it was kind of interesting. Now, that being said, okay, I agree with Greg. You don't need to waste your money on a trusted photographer. I'm sorry, you just don't. Unless you are just lazy, I guess. Because you can go and you can hire a trusted photographer and they can go ahead and they can do a street globe and they can go ahead and try and connect it. And I say try and connect it to your Google Business profile. However, the little trick is you don't have to hire a Street View photographer. You can go download the Street View app, okay? And you can go make a globe by yourself. You can do it with your phone if you want, or just go out and buy a 360 camera. They're like $50, I think.
Yeah.
Right. And do a 360 globe. So if you want to do it, great. They're good for users. Consumers love them. I love them, man. It's like I'm going to a museum. Shit. I love the 360 tours. What do you think, dude?
No, I like them. I like them if you got the money to blow, I like it a lot better having it on your website than putting it on your business profile. But it just seems to me that every time this question comes up over the years, it's one of those things, and we need to get this on the soundboard. It's one of those things where I always say, look, this has nothing to do with SEO. It's about conversion. And this is one of those things that, like, don't do it because you're hoping for some sort of a minuscule rankings boost. Do it because it's going to help you convert more customers. And if you've got the money to blow on it, then great. But if you're doing it because you want it to help you rank better, that's the wrong reason to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And realistically, that's it's true with all SEO.
Yeah.
Do it for the customer. Yeah. Always do it for the customer. Don't do it for Google. Google doesn't care about you.
So the next question is from Jenna. And Jenna actually has two questions for you. So right. First part is, can Google pause LSAs without permission, or is it only available by an administrator to manually pause the ads?
That's a good question. A lot of people actually don't know the answer to this. So thank you for asking, Jenna. Yes, of course, you can go in and on your profile, you can toggle your ads to be turned off. However, there are other reasons why your ads will be paused. First reason, you run out of budget, period. You run out of budget, Google will disable your ad, remove your badge, and relegate you to the bottom of the list or the middle. Either way, you're not going to show up. Another reason, depending on your industry, insurance information, your background check, your insurance, your licensing, so licensing in particular. If they expire, Google will start to demote your listing and derank you. Also, there is sometimes a bug where your license will show expired on the GLSA backend, not yours, their end. However, on your end, it shows valid. And this bug will cause you to get disabled. You won't know it. You'll know it because you're disabled, but you won't know you're being affected by this bug. So my guidance there is, if this is happening, is call GLSA and ask them to check your licensing, basically.
And then part 2 of the question is there a reason a client would have a good amount of leads before pausing the campaign and then pause for dramatic effect? When unpausing it, it is not generating many or any leads.
Of course. Yeah. The answer is that you have been removed from the algorithm in a sense at that point. So before you were getting leads, you were answering, your MRR was up, right? Your merchant response rate. You took yourself out of the equation. Other companies came into the equation. Their MRR and all of their signals went up. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 could be is that there's just not enough leads in the area, period. Or you dropped out and your competitors increased their bids. That's another reason. So your bidding model might be actually aged. So you can change all of those things. By the way, Trisha, yes, Joe Danzer, that is actually who I was thinking about. Thank you. he was on our webinar before. All right, cool. All right. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on the GLSA?
No, you covered it all.
All right, man. All right, sweet. Next question. This is for you, buddy. What is the current best practice for adding local business schema markup for SABs? Specifically, Paul has the question of what, when intentionally not publishing an SAB's home address, which if you're an SAB, of course, you're not showing the home address on the contact page. However, what's the recommendation for schema? Including the schema, even though it's not visible on the live page, omit the street address, just include the city, zip, and code, and phone number.
So this actually was submitted last week. I think we may have had it or we mentioned it, but I reached out to Martha Van Berkel at Schema app, and Martha said the guidelines for schema dictate that you can only include structured data for information that is actually visible on the page. So you would be out of guidelines for schema to put schema markup on the page for your address if your address isn't visible. But then she said, if the phone number is visible, you can put the local business schema and just include the phone number element. Or if you've got the phone number and the zip code, like he mentioned, you could put the schema in for the phone number and the zip code, but you shouldn't put the address in there unless the address is visible on the page.
Cool. Thank you, man. All right.
Easy one. Next one's for you.
All right. Let's do this.
This is kind of an ongoing issue, or looks like it might become an issue. So this one is from Kiera. And the question is, I asked a question last week about missing website links on my GVPs. Been said to submit a question to the community with the video showing the issue. I did, but nobody has messaged me back. I've followed up with Google so many times, but they haven't fixed the website link. Whoops. I'm stressed out over the issue since it's been going on for a month and I can't fix it. I'm not sure what to do. Can you please help?
All right. So first thing I'm going to say is Kira, if you are here, Kira, are you here? Oh, wait, never mind. We got it. Thank you. So thank you for giving us the support link. So normally I would just say, just kind of relax. Somebody will get to you. In this case, I'm going to take this one on personally. Reason being is that I'm going to put out the canary in the coal mine warning. We don't have a sound effect for this yet. Cheep, 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 cheep. Right. But this is now the fourth time in 2 days that I've heard about this issue. And from what I'm gathering is that you go ahead, you put in the website, and it says you cannot add this website. Or actually, hold on. I'm sorry. The issue I'm thinking about has to do with phone numbers and websites. This actually could also be a robots.txt issue. So I'm going to have to take a look at it. But anyway, I'm seeing issues with adding phone numbers and adding websites. So if you are seeing this issue, please do let us know. Open up a community thread that specifically states, phone number not being accepted or website not being accepted. So that way we can keep an eye out for these in the community.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And I'm actually going to go save this URL. Okay, sweet. Done. All right. All right, buddy. Next question is for you. Getting into some questions that we missed. So our friend, the anonymous attendee,
who dominated the questions last week. And it's good to see this week that Anonymous is sitting back and not like taking everybody else's opportunities away.
Yeah, I know, right? Greedy. All right. So, all right. My client is a 50-year-old, well-known plumbing business with 2 offices in medium-sized / competitive markets. They're planning to grow and expand into HVAC and electrical in the next 6 months. From a local SEO perspective, is it best to add these service categories to their existing GPPs and just add heating, cooling, and electric to their name? Or should they start a new service division as separate businesses and additional GBPs? So each GBP gets, this is going to be an it depends. Or start a new one with this, basically different business entities to make new GBPs to get maximum exposure. I'm not going to go into the naming conventions here. Note their attorney and CPA has advised them to run each new service division as separate entities. This is a cool question, by the way.
So this one is
it depends.
So, man, so many ways to unpack this.
Good luck.
They could start new businesses. If they were to go down that route of starting new businesses as separate business entities, they would need to be sure to have separate websites as well. But to be eligible for a Google business profile for the new business, they need permanent signage, separate entrance, separate staff, separate phone number, which it's probably not likely. We don't know enough because I don't know who this was, so we can't ask Anonymous to come back and provide more detail. They may not even be here this week, but if it's going to be the same office, that's going to be really hard on the GBP side. They could potentially try it, but then you run into filtering issues and they're probably going to get counted as duplicates. And yeah, that gets really hairy. If they do, let's go with the unicorn scenario. Money is no object.
Yes. Katrina is our anonymous attendee.
Okay. I'm going to keep going down what I was saying. In the unicorn scenario of money is no object and they were able to do whatever they needed to do, yes, new business entity, but also new website, but also new office in a different location. That would be the real way to do it. If it's the same office and new phone number, yes. If it's the same office, they're not going to be eligible to do separate GBPs. So they're going to have to just add in the categories. Potentially you could get complicated and maybe do separate websites for them to try to go for the organic angle and not show up in the map pack. But I mean, that seems overly complex. If it's going to be the same office, you're pretty much going to be stuck with the same GBP. Steven asked over there, Steven, dude, we need it. You know what we do need? We do need to get a sound that's like, yo, put the questions in the question section. But I'm going to forgive Steven this time because it does kind of play in. Trisha, questions in the Q&A. I'm kidding. No, Steven asked, what about adding the GDP location to say inside of? But to do the inside of, that is, you have a separate business entity that is located inside of, and you still have to have separate signage, separate phone number, separate staff, which they wouldn't have, so it wouldn't be in compliance. They wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah. It's just really sticky. Okay. And where this gets even stickier is that the HVAC industry, electrical and plumbing are all what's considered duress categories. So they're abused quite often, right?
Yep.
And I see this all the time with our clients where they're like, oh, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to spin up a ton of new GPPs. And then I get the eventual follow-up phone call, which is, and both of my new divisions have now been suspended. And what do I do?
Yep.
So you got to remember the one rule that kind of guides all of this over at Google. And that is one business entity, one URL, one phone number, one name, one address. The important caveat with the one address piece is that suite numbers don't matter.
Yep.
So you could try floor 1, floor 2, but that's basically suites. You could try just differentiating by one number, but again, it would be like it's a different office. So, anyway, everything Greg says dead on with this. So.
And also the other side of being that duress category where it's super spammy, you're probably likely to have competitors that are doing SEO aggressively because of that, and they're going to be doing spam fighting. And if they see you trying to bend the rules or break the rules and do this, then they're going to report you, and you're going to keep fighting. It's going to be a massive headache to try to cheat and do it. So
yeah,
really your best route forward is probably just to add those categories and then just really do awesome content and structure on the website.
Yeah. And by the way, there is no drawback to having multiple categories in your GPP. So you could have HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. So, and just include the name. Change the name.
All right. John's got a question for you from last week.
Excellent.
Well, it says, hey guys, but I'm going to ask you since that's kind of our style. So, hey guys, /Ben, because that's how Greg is asking it. Is the original dashboard going away to view the listing? Seems like some clients lost access to the original interface and now can only see the new search view for making edits to the listings. Hotels do not have a product section, so there was no way for them to get back to the original view. Not sure if Google is just testing and forcing certain people to use the new view, but do you know if the plan is to retire the old interface?
Okay. So, the original dashboard is going away for single listings. If you have multiple listings, more than one, you should be able to access the GPP dashboard with no problem. If for some reason you only have one listing and want to use the GPP manager, go ahead, start the verification of a brand new listing. Do not finish the verification. This will put 2 listings in your dashboard. If you don't want to go down this road, reach out to a nice friend of yours and say, can you give me management access, please? I promise not to touch your listing. Obviously, not the best way to go, but you can do it.
Yep.
That's really the best way to go. I hear you. You need to be in Gppm to do edits on hotels. Yes, I don't think that's made it yet.
And John actually just put in chat that they actually did have multiple listings.
Really?
So that sounds like a bug.
Yeah, that's a bug, John. Do a Loom video proving this and head to the community. Yeah. Do that. Yeah, I agree, Nate. It sucks. Okay, cool. All right. So, Greg, we have a question again from the anonymous attendee. If I put in the Google community, if I put a question in the Google community, hey, we just talked about this. Is there a way to ask you to look at a thread specifically, like adding at Greg Gifford in the post?
Not really. It's not like those of us that are product experts get any sort of an alert if you mention our name, but you can put our name in there and just say, hey, can I heard Ben on a podcast, can Ben take a look? Or hey, I know Ben does this sort of stuff, or hey, Greg does this all the time. And actually this does happen fairly often, because obviously everybody knows I work with a ton of car dealers and I have for 15 years. So whenever questions come into the community that are from a dealership, the other product experts always just kind of pop me a message and go, hey, go check this one out. It's a car dealer one. And they let me jump in because I'm going to know it. I send links to Ben all the time. I'm like, oh, hey, here's a weird suspension one. Go answer this one. So we will all kind of talk to each other and send each other the things that are kind of in their area of expertise.
Yeah.
But other than maybe just mentioning Ben's name or my name or somebody's name in the post, there's not really a way to alert us that it's going to be there.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I mean, to give you a little context on history too, this is kind of neat for random trivia. There used to be a platform called Lithium. Okay, this was the platform before the community, and you actually used to be able to tag people. And I'm sorry, man, it got so freaking annoying, because people would be like, help me, and not getting any answers. And, it's like not getting answers from Google, and people like continually tag you. So yeah, it was kind of annoying. But like Greg said, just like, if you put in somebody's name, one of us product experts, if Greg doesn't see it, we'll be like, hey, dude, here you go. And somebody's asking a question of you. And then, of course, it's up to your discretion. Also, always remember, we are volunteers. We are not Google employees. We do this in our free time. So that being said, there's a lot of threads to answer. So we may or may not get you. That's a possibility.
And remember, we're just the volunteers that are, if we do an escalation to Google and it's a week later and you haven't heard back from us, I get comments back all the time. Hey, why haven't you answered me yet? What's going on? Well, like I can't reply back until I hear something from support or the GMB team or the reviews team, or depending on whatever that issue is. So just, we in our interface, we have a way to see activity that we have participated in that has new information on it. And we also have a kind of like call it an admin view for the stuff that we're escalating to the GBP team. We're always pretty diligent about, as soon as we hear back from GBP, we're going to let you know. So if it's been a couple days and you haven't heard anything, we're not ignoring you. We just don't have an update for you.
However, if you get belligerent about it or entitled about it, we might ignore you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have a GIF that I use for that, which is a Star Trek one where the guy's drowning in sand.
Yeah.
Like, all right. Anyway,
all right.
Okay.
I got one for you.
All right.
Again from Anonymous from last week, because again, Anonymous dominated the questions last week. Yep. Okay, we got a 1-star review, and they were complaining about a settlement that happened over 20 years ago. Our attorney doesn't remember this person, and our attorney didn't start his law firm until 2012. Our SEO company said not to respond to it. Sounds like you need to get a new SEO company. That was my side. That's not the question. So our SEO company said not to respond to it, so it wouldn't go to the top of the listing. We noticed a drop in calls and are not paying a company to remove it. Should we still respond to the review? Correction. We are now paying a company to remove it.
All right, you ready to? I'm gonna just.
Can I use this one?
Yeah, that's like so many questions in one. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to. I got to pull this grilled cheese apart. So I'm going to just go by line because it's actually important information. All right. We got a 1-star review. They're complaining about a settlement that happened 20 years ago. Our attorney doesn't remember this person. Our attorney didn't start his law firm until 2012. Yes, exactly. The girl getting rid of those. You got no tomatoes, man. Our attorney didn't start the law firm until 2012. So the reason I got to pick this one apart is because of this. Is usually when I hear this statement, it's like, I worked over at this law firm before, and now they're leaving a review for me on my new firm. It's an iffy question because according to Google, it should be the experience that they had with the merchant, and you're not the merchant, you're the practitioner. However, because you're a practitioner, you are the merchant. So it's kind of weird. How that's going to work. Anyway, Google would probably go ahead and allow it. That's number one. Okay. Number two, our SEO company said not to respond to it so it wouldn't go to the top of the listing. That's BS. Responding to a review will not make it go to the top of the listing. Okay. And hell yeah, add bacon, Trisha. Damn right. Okay. So that's number two. That's a myth. So whoever said that doesn't know what they're talking about. Okay. Except if when it comes to bacon. Damn right. Okay. Next. And also on top of that, I am in the camp of when you have a review that you need to dispute, you reply to that review.
Heck yes.
Okay. Always. Even if that reply is something as simple as, I'm sorry, you're mentioning something from 20 years ago. We do not have any kind of recollections. As a matter of fact, I opened my business in 2012.
Yep.
Period. I'm sorry that you had this experience. Exactly. Empathy, compassion, understanding, even if they are wrong. Period. Okay. So we noticed a drop in calls and are not paying a company. Well, now they are paying a company to review it. Okay. Two things. First, we noticed a drop in calls. Probably not going to be from this review. Unless you're thinking that because people are seeing this review that they're not calling you, which is possible.
The only review they have.
Right.
Maybe then.
So in that case, little trick for you, because reviews do cause conversions. Go to past reviewers, find a couple that you know personally, of course, which I hope you know them all, and ask them to update their review. Do you got it, Tricia? Local you. That's one of the tips that Joy gave. Excellent tip. I've used it. Have you used it, Greg?
Yep.
Yeah. And so that review that is edited gets treated like a new review and will bubble up to the top. And it'll bury the negative review. You don't want to, you're not doing anything wrong here, by the way, so. All right. You're welcome, Stephen. Okay. So, and now the last piece, which is my bugaboo. We are now, capital letters, paying a company to remove it.
Wait.
Exactly.
Wait.
One more time. Exactly. So without some additional context, I'm just going to kind of spew, okay, really quickly. And that is this, is that if you get a company that says, I will remove your bad review, and I guarantee it, they're blowing smoke up your yin yang. Okay. No person has the ability to remove a Google review. Everybody has the ability to publicly flag a review. You have the ability to flag a review. You have the ability to use the review removal tool. You have the ability to contact Google support. You have the ability to go to the community and escalate it if Google does not remove it. And then a product expert can take a look at it. But if somebody says, I guarantee I'm going to remove this review for you and it's going to cost you $500, run the other way, because you have just been pretty much scammed. Exactly right. Run for the hills. Exactly. Anyway, that was a lot. We pulled apart the cheeseburger. We got rid of the tomatoes. We added the bacon. The grilled cheese, actually. And what you got, Greg?
No, that was it. I just want to do this one more time.
Right on. And everybody, thank you for the commentary. It was freaking amazing. Okay, cool. On to you, Greg, and then I think we can jump into Q&A for a little while.
Yep.
Okay. Are disgruntled former employees allowed to leave negative GBP reviews?
Technically, no. But are they going to be able to? And is the team going to remove them when you report them? Probably not. So according to the guidelines, no, but You have to prove that they are a disgruntled former employee, and just saying, hey man, this bad review is somebody that used to work here isn't going to be sufficient. So it's sometimes exceedingly difficult to prove that it is a disgruntled former employee to get that review pulled down. But what you can do is put a review response up that says, hey, Trisha, sorry you hate us because you don't work here anymore, but this isn't anything other than you trying to hurt us, or something. You could be more direct, or you could be like, hey, you used to work here, you're not really supposed to leave a review. You're not a customer, whatever you want to do. And at least that way people will see that that's what's going on. But sometimes it's pretty tough to prove that that person worked there, and it's not going to get pulled down.
So diapers totally applies here because it depends.
It depends.
All right. So the reason why it depends is yes, guidelines state no reviews from employees. Proving somebody is an employee is where it comes into it depends. So if the content of the review states explicitly, I used to work here. I see this all the time, by the way. So I used to work here. These guys are the biggest scumbags in the entire world. They ripped me off, blah, 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 whatever it is. That can get removed.
And that'll get removed almost every time. That's super easy. It's most of the time they don't say that.
Exactly. Now, if they are using their name, so Greg Gifford leaves a scathing review with the local marketing institute or Trisha. And so, and on Trisha's LinkedIn page, it says Greg Gifford worked here. And on Greg Gifford's LinkedIn page, it says you worked for Trisha. That is actually enough proof to get rid of the review because it's in your control and the employer's control. There's a connection there.
But that's assuming that the former employee had a LinkedIn, because a lot of times when these questions come up, it's smaller regional businesses, or, we see it a lot with restaurants and bars, and waiters, bartenders typically don't have LinkedIn. So that's when it becomes really difficult.
And I agree. I mean, I see all sorts of cases too, where somebody's like, we fired this employee and they left us a negative review, and their entire family left us negative reviews. So now we have 50 negative reviews.
Yep.
Right. Or whatever the case may be. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, we can't prove this. There's no way to prove it. So anyway, okay, cool.
And another thing that I always say on the forum, because a lot of people will come in on the forum, I just got this fake review. It's a negative review with 1 star and no text, or even 1 star and text. And they're like, you weren't ever a customer. Google should remove it because the guidelines say if you weren't a customer, you can't leave a review. But you got to think about it from Google's perspective. If every time a business got a bad review, they could go to Google and say, hey, this person wasn't a customer, and the review would get pulled down, no businesses would have bad reviews. So you've got that burden of proof there that, sure, I get it. You're a business owner and you got this scathing review and you don't know who the heck it came from, and you want to get it pulled because you think it might not be a person. Or if you're like a car dealership or a realtor or somebody that you have the information of everybody you've ever worked with and they weren't a customer, still doesn't matter to Google. Google's going to say, look, unless it says I never came to this place, but I heard they're jerks, they're not going to pull it down. And if it's a 1-star review with no text, unless it's part of an easily detected review network, they're not pulling that down at all because there's no context to say that person did anything.
Yep, exactly. All right, cool, man.
So now we'll go to the live questions.
Yes.
Nate has a question for you since you're up next. And you're welcome, Nate. And you get another question answered here. So yours is one of those, or as one of those wretched Google local guides, LOL. Nate has noticed that as he leaves a written review of businesses, they're asking additional questions with the review, such as how much I paid at a restaurant, and other questions about my experience, such as did I dine in, what kind of meal did I purchase, etc. Is this anything you've experienced or have knowledge of?
All right. So Nate, just so you know, as a wretched Google local guide, by the way, I'm assuming you're at least a level 8, dude. Just kidding. I'm at level 8. Don't get to level 10, by the
Whoa,
way.
he's level 9.
Ooh, you're level 9? Watch out, dude. Don't go to level 10. Seriously, level 10, they look at you with a microscope and they will ban your account if you've done anything wrong. Watch out. Anyway, start making edits with a different account. Anyway, yeah. Watch out for level 10. I'm just telling you. I've seen people who, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. All right. So to answer your question, this feature has been around for a very, very, very long time, actually. And it is usually restricted to hotels, restaurants, other physical categories like that too. So where there is additional information that can be provided. So no, it's not you. Yeah, exactly right. With a restaurant, right? So it just makes sense though, right? Doesn't it? Because you can put extra context in with your review. You can say how much you paid. People don't know that. You can tell about the dining experience. People would like to know this, so again, helping the consumer, right? Is what this is all about. So anyway, it's really it's very normal, actually. It's pretty cool. I encourage you to fill that stuff out, by the way. It's really super useful to use, people. And if you ever wondered where those little dollar signs came from on a restaurant, it comes from that. John Guild, please ask your questions inside. You're welcome, Nate. Inside the Q&A. Well, Greg already got to it. Never mind. All right, Greg, next question for you. Okay, so that is going to be from Robin. Robin's asking, I had a Google account and changed my address. They suspended me. I lost, you didn't, 105 5-star reviews. And because it's suspended, I can't add the URL for reference to a request for review for reinstatement. You absolutely can. Another topic, but if you have an answer, let me know. So go for it.
Robin, I would be curious if you could enter into chat why you changed your address. We need the Jeopardy song.
Yeah, I was like, that was going on in my head too. Like,
don't know if she is here or not, but yeah, they're actually not lost. If you get reinstated, you'll get them back. You should be answering this. You're the reinstatement guy.
All right, I'll do it.
I don't.
I'm sitting here. Yeah. I was biting my tongue.
Go ahead, jump in there.
All right. So, yes, when you change your address, it's very common to get suspended. That is extremely true, especially if you're moving cities or states. So that's number one. Number two, you haven't lost your reviews. They're still there. And if you click on the reviews tab, you'll see them. You're missing all your replies, though. You will have to redo those. Because it's suspended, I can't add the URL for reference or request for review restatement. Yes, you can. How you do this is you either grab the Google My Business Profile Manager dashboard URL, or you go to, I hate this, by the way, because I forget how to do it. I haven't done it in a lot. In the new in-search experience, I think you click on the 3 dots, then you go to advanced. It's one of those things there. You go to one of those, and then you're going to get a profile ID. And you can use the profile ID, and that's actually what you're supposed to do. By the way, these instructions are actually on the reinstatement form. When you click on whether I manage in search or whether I manage in the dashboard, it'll give the instructions with a nice little screen grab that shows you exactly where all these things are. So that's the answer.
Boom.
All right, for you, buddy. Don has a question. I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name today, Don. Sorry. My GBP links to a bad SSL page and enter URL, and it's fine.
Don, if you're still around, could you maybe elucidate a bit in chat? I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
Elucidate.
Good word, right?
Is this for the word for the day?
I mean, it sounds like, well, I mean, it's saying the GBP links to a bad SSL page, meaning not a secured page. but you enter the URL manually and it is secured, but I don't.
I think I know what he's asking. I think he's asking this. Can I link to a bad SSL page? In other words, if it has an SSL warning.
But maybe if you type it in, it doesn't have the SSL warning.
No, I think he's
That's
asking.
the enter URL and it's fine part. I'm not sure that's what's throwing me off.
I think he's asking, is it okay to link to a page that has a bad SSL warning?
I mean, you can link to whatever you want, but if you're linking to your website and it's got a bad SSL warning, that's a whole another can of worms. You should figure out what's going on.
Fix. The basic answer to this is no, it's not fine. You can get suspended for this pretty darn quick. Basically, the URL that you're pointing to has to have a good consumer experience, and a bad SSL link, it's going to throw up a flag, especially if you got like Norton or something like that running. It won't even bring up the website.
Why would you want to link to that page? Because regardless of what happens, whether GBP is going to suspend you or not, your customers are going to bail if they land on a page with a warning.
I know I would.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Boom. I guess this one sort of comes to me because
it does.
It's about the sound effects. And maybe we should ask Barry, is it new that we have sound effects or not?
Nope, it's not new.
Yeah, we're goofballs.
And then again, I don't know which sound effects is best. It's kind of depends.
I mean, I think this one's pretty awesome.
It always cuts off at the end.
And then you heard the buzzer. We've got way too long though. We've got this one, the flats. We've got, and then we've got.
It depends.
And we keep talking about the other ones we need to do, and then I always forget and don't add them in. So
yeah, exactly.
Yes, Stephen, you're right. That is Nate wins. Best question of the day.
Okay, cool. All right. So
all right, next one is for you then.
All right.
So Christine said she has a new Google Business profile, maybe a month old. She knows of at least 2 people who have left reviews, but they're not showing. Any suggestions?
Yes. Actually, oh shit, this is like 2 things in one. Pretty much your issue is that you are being review suppressed by Google at the moment. We call this a new review ghost. However, this situation is a little bit different because it is a month-old Google Business profile. There's currently a bug, in quotes. If you're listening to this, I've got air quotes going on. But there's currently a bug where new Google Business profiles are not getting reviews. But here's where it depends. Is if it's showing on your customers map contributions profile and not on yours, then that's the new review ghost, which means you are able to get reviews, but just not those. In that case, you need to get screenshots of those reviews, reach out to support, see if they'll restore them. If they don't, come to the Google Business Profile community and open up a thread and make sure you include your dashboard URL and also the screenshots of those reviews that are missing.
Yeah, for us to be able to escalate this to get help, you've got to either have screenshots of the missing reviews or the names of the reviewers. If you just say, I know I got reviews and they're not showing up, there's not anything Google's going to be able to do.
Yeah, and I can't stress this enough. Go to support first.
Yep. We
will not help you unless you have a support ticket. All right. Oh, Paul says he has a ghost too. What kind of ghost do you have, Paul? New review ghost, old review ghost, or just a plain old ghost? Okay. So anonymous attendee has a question for you, Greg. So all right.
Anonymous is back.
Yep. Hey, Anonymous. All right. So, okay. Yeah. Well, then you know how to fix it now, Paul, at least the process. Okay. Following up on the changes to the GBP interface, you're supposed to have the original UI. If you have, we kind of answered this. Well, no, okay. Or if you have multiple listings, is this true for agency accounts? When I click into a listing for my agency account, it takes me to the new Google search dashboard. Oh my God, I know what he's talking about.
I'll let you answer this one if you know what he's talking about. I have not seen this happen.
Yeah. So I have an agency dashboard with thousands of listings. And the thing is that when you click into a listing, it gives you the modal window that says, try this on search or not. Click on or not. And you're stay basically in the dashboard. That's pretty much it, unless you're suffering some kind of bug that I'm not aware of. Okay, well, next one's over to you then, buddy. This one's from Al Anthony. Attempting to upload some videos that are on YouTube to a new client's GBP. Guess Google knows they are on YouTube as they keep just processing. Now 45 minutes. Guess this is spam now? Think so? Have fun.
No, not spam, but Al, I would ask what the information is on the video you're trying to upload, because the size limit is 75 meg or 30 seconds in length, whichever one is bigger. So if you're trying to upload a video that's 50 meg, but it's 45 seconds long, it's not going to work. So it may be something related to the size issues. If it doesn't violate the 30-second/75 megabyte size limit, even if it could be really close to that and still not make it. But like if it's like for sure not that size, then it could be a bug. And then in that case, you'd want to talk to support about it. But if you do try to upload something that is a lot longer, it's not going to let you, and it might be related to that.
Yeah. And there's one caveat to this. I mean, I hate this processing bug, by the way. This sucks. I remember when this happened with images, it was horrible.
Yep.
But so the front end and the back end of GBP works completely different. It might look funky on the front end, but actually be okay. So what I would encourage you to do is that if you see this still as an error, go to Google Maps. Okay, or go to your profile on Google search on your mobile device and see if the video is processed. If it is, it'll play. Then you just don't need to worry about it. It's just you basically at that point. All right.
Whose turn is it? Yours or mine?
I think it's mine.
Okay. This one's from Nate.
All right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is if someone leaves a 1-star review on a Google Business profile with no comment or text, they're technically untouchable and will not be removed from Google as there is no context.
Incorrect, Nate. So there are a lot of spammy profiles. Exactly. It kind of depends. There's a lot of
it depends.
There's a lot of spammy signals that Google can see that we can't see. So on a single star review, when that's submitted to Google, it goes through, their machine learning process. Sometimes it goes to a human review, and they will take a look at everything from the account. Where was that review left geographically? In what time period was it left? Was it left right after a 5-star review? And probably hundreds of other little signals that we just don't know about. So no, not untouchable. Difficult? Yeah, of course, but not untouchable at all. I say report it all. Let Google figure it out.
And do kind of a smell test on it too, because you can click that person's profile. If it's the only review they've ever left, that's going to be a lot tougher. But if they've left 45 reviews and you go look and they've left a 1-star review for 45 different businesses all over the country and it's all in the same vertical, that's probably some sort of spam account. You might have a chance of getting that removed if you go report it.
Exactly.
Obviously, like he said, Google can see a whole lot that we can't see. But a lot of times, if you can look at it and go, oh, okay, well, hey, they've done this. We saw this like a year ago with a car dealership that we worked at. And they got a bunch of 1-star reviews, not a bunch, like 4 or 5 1-star reviews from accounts. But each of those accounts had also given 1-star reviews with no text to every other dealership in town. And on the same day, gave a 5-star review to one dealership in town. So basically, one dealership had 5 or 6 accounts that gave them all 5-star reviews with glowing awesome text, and negative 1-star reviews with no text to every other dealership in town. okay, clearly that was fake and we got it removed. So
Yeah.
it kind of depends.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we met with the review team just recently, actually, and they specifically stated these kind of things. So yeah, report them all. Kira has a question for you. Hi, that's her question.
Hi back.
Okay.
So now that is time.
That is time. I mean, we got 3 questions, dude. You want to just hit them real quick, or you want to bail?
Everybody jump in on chat. Let us know. You want us to answer the last 3 questions? Steven said go for it.
All right. Let's see. Come on.
So now this is for you then. John's question. I'm on my 3rd try to get an address verification postcard from Google for a client in Mexico. Client thinks someone is stealing his mail. What do you think? Is it a problem with Google, the Mexican mail system, or the client's neighbors?
All right. John, are you still here? Calling John. Guild.
But John may be
doing my best Bueller.
John just answered this. John Guild just asked this at 12:49 p. Okay, he's still here.
Yeah, he's gonna be. Oh, there he is. All right, John. Thank you. So my question to you is this, because I'm not familiar with Mexico. In the United States, you can go to the United States Postal Service and you can ask them to basically verify an address, right? And if it's unverifiable, then they will figure out a way to verify it so that way mail gets there. Is there such a system in Mexico? Well, I'll just say this. If there is I'd like to know actually, but if there is such a system in Mexico, then that's okay. So I would go to whatever their equivalent of the post office system is and see if they can verify the address, or ask your customer to do that. The next question is do they regularly receive mail already? I'm assuming they do, but sometimes people in the United States say, I don't get mail. I just can't get mail at this address. So if so, that's also a problem. That being said, is that when postcards don't arrive, there's a lot of different reasons. Those are the primary reasons. I doubt somebody is stealing your mail. Yeah. If they were stealing your mail, they'd be verifying your profile too. Okay, so that's the first thing. The next thing is again, this is super normal, by the way. It happens in the United States all the time. All you need to do is reach out to Google support and say, I'm not getting the verification postcard. I want to do video verification.
And let them know that you've requested the postcard multiple times and not received it multiple times.
Exactly. Otherwise, they're going to ask you, well, when's the last time you asked for it? And then, so when you ask for video verification, they will come back to you and say, congratulations, you're eligible for video verification. Thanks, Google. And they'll give you a script and a time, and they'll schedule a time with you. And then make sure you tie in the owner into that conversation, so that way they can have a conversation with Google, because ultimately they're going to have to do it on their phone with Google Meet. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Next one's for you. This is from our buddy Nate. Again, Nate Sumpson. I'm curious, do you guys use UTM tracking for the website, menu, appointment, COVID URLs, and tracking in Gppm for more accurate information?
Heck yes.
Same here.
Always do it.
Yep. Just like report it all, track it all.
Yep.
All right. Kira has another question.
No, wait, it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah. So Kira's question, I have a franchise that lost their website links for 12 Google Business Profiles. Good that we're asking this to you, since this is your kind of new flag to raise.
Yep.
Kira contacted Google, but hasn't been able to get a fix for the issue. She tried to ask for help through the community, but did not get a response. Not sure what to do.
Oh, wait, Kira's someone who asked this earlier. Yeah.
Maybe she wasn't here to hear that we answered it earlier.
Okay. Yeah. We already answered this, Kira. I've got the escalation post up on my screen already. So I'll be going ahead and raising that to Google. Okay, cool. Nate. No, thank you, dude. No, you make us. How can I say that? You make us. Okay. That's all there is to it. And do it. Let's just do it. Anonymous Attendee has one last question. Let's just do it.
Let's do it.
All right. Hi there, guys. Making some local position research on I search from. Our client doesn't appear in search per se, but if I hit more businesses, we're making ranking first. Ooh. Are they excluding in the more businesses the first three you already saw? No, but they didn't have another search I made before.
What is I search from? That's where I'm confused.
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
So they're from Colombia. Hey, wow, that's awesome. We got somebody from way down in Colombia watching. Yeah, I'm not sure what this I search from thing is, so it's difficult to answer, but it sounds like it might be some tool or widget that is a local rank tracking or something.
Yeah.
Because they're not appearing in searches, but they hit more businesses and they rank first. I don't know that tool, so I don't know what that tool is doing. The easiest thing to do would be to use a different tool or let's see what that, never even heard of this tool.
I don't know. I search from, it's either way, there is no discrimination between the 3-pack and not.
Yeah, I don't, that's some location spoofer. If you're trying to spoof your location, there's Chrome plugins you can do that would work better than I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that's probably something from that tool, maybe. Wow, all the way from Argentina. Thanks, Nate.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. Well, cool.
Yeah, so Juan, so that tool, there's a lot of different Chrome plugins that you can use that will spoof your location, that will let you just search Google, but it will spoof your location to Google. Mm-hmm. I would try that instead, because who knows what that tool's doing in the back end that I don't have a way to answer that.
Yeah. Not to mention, there's actually Mobile Moxie has a cool tool to look at stuff. Yes, I would check out Mobile Moxie maybe. Cool. Well, with that, we are 6 minutes over. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and allowing us to answer some of the last questions of the night, or the day, actually, morning. But thank you for joining us. Have a freaking amazing weekend. That is another episode of the Local Marketing Institute on the books. I want to personally thank Greg. Greg, thank you. You are traveling. You are in a hotel, man. Thank you for
stepped away from a conference. That's how important this is to me.
That is right. Exactly. And by the way, I'm just saying, everybody, if you have not gone and seen the Poison, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Joan Jett, and the Blackhearts concert yet, go
see it. It's amazing.
Yes. Greg, you saw it last week? I saw it
I saw it this week. I saw it Monday.
Oh, you saw it Monday?
Yeah, I saw it Monday. I'm just now getting over the kind of post-concert ear ringing. Man, it was so ridiculously epic.
And I gotta do it. Okay, we're in extra game time here, everybody. So thanks for hanging out. Yeah, and so I got the T-shirt last night. So anyway, all right, cool. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Yep. Bye.